Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
On a daily basis, I consume enough drugs to sedate Manhattan, Long Island, and Queens for a month. I take Quaaludes 10 to 15 times a day for my back pain, Adderall to stay focused, Xanax to take the edge off, pot to mellow me out, cocaine to wake me back up, and morphine. Well, because it's awesome.
Come on. With a common denominator. Keep it up for me. See how we roll. How the money comes in, the parade comes to town. Going down Broadway is a one-way street, whichever way I go.
Good evening and welcome back to Three Guys in a Flick. This is where we review the good, the bad, and the absurd. Tonight's episode, The Wolf of Wall Street. Beware spoilers. Coming to you from my basement, as always, my name is Don. And to our right, we have our comic book guy, John.
Let me give you some legal advice. Shut the fuck up.
And to my left, we have the professor, Ken.
Hello, John. How you doing today? You mailed my company a postcard a few weeks back requesting information on penny stocks with a huge upside potential with very little downside risk. Does that ring a bell? Okay, great. Well, the reason for the pod today, John, is that there's this podcast crew, Three Guys in a Flick, and they're going to be reviewing The Wolf of Wall Street. Have you seen that? Well, anyways, this podcast show, Three Guys in a Flick, they have got to be the best podcast show I have heard in the last 6 months. If you have 60 seconds, I'd like to share with you what makes this podcast show so good with you. You got a minute?
And then, yeah, nice sell, baby. Professor coming in strong. Talking about The Wolf of Wall Street. Professor, have you seen this movie before?
I'd seen a lot of it.
But not in its entirety.
Not in its entirety.
Okay. John, had you seen this movie?
It was my first time.
Yeah. This comes as our third director's pick. Just to throw a quick recap, we had John Hughes's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Steven Spielberg's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and tonight's episode, Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street.
What about you? You've seen this before, right?
I've seen this a couple times. I, for one, am a big Scorsese fan. He has done a lot of films that, I really enjoy. I like the way he tells a story. He has a very distinct style. You could tell that Goodfellas was pretty much the blueprint for this movie. Very similarly paced and followed a lot of the same ideas, if you will, but obviously different. But yeah, most definitely he has a style that's very recognizable, and I fucking dig it. I dig Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, his attention to his camera work is fantastic. He is so thoughtful in how he composes his camera shots.
I also read that he used different types of lenses, cutscenes, things like that to portray Jordan's state of mind, whether he was on the drugs, whether he was off the drugs, whether he was, in kind of a violent mood, things like that. It all is portrayed by how the camera is shooting the scene.
John, are you familiar with a lot of Martin Scorsese movies? Can you name 5?
I cannot.
How many can you name?
Wolf of Wall Street.
That's 1.
Oh, Goodfellas.
So you know 2, Wolf of Wall Street and Goodfellas. Professor, go.
Raging Bull and Wolf of Wall Street and Goodfellas. Those are the ones that I know off the top of my head. After that, I have to start thinking about it. But if I were to look at the list, I go, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Taxi Driver.
Yeah,
definitely
right.
Jumps into there,
Mm-hmm.
Casino.
Oh yeah, of course.
Casino, right?
Right.
Now, do you know who we really have to thank for this movie?
Jordan Belfort.
Who inspired Jordan to write the book?
Oh, Tommy Chong.
Tommy Chong, who actually ended up being Jordan's cellmate, inspired him to write a book.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. That's awesome.
And I guess they're still friends today.
Yeah, that's great.
And who inspired Jordan Belfort in the first place to have this type of behavior?
Who?
Gordon Gekko from Wall Street.
Oh, yes.
Greed is good. But here's another piece of trivia for you. Do you know what Jordan wanted to be originally before becoming a stockbroker?
A lawyer?
No, he actually went to dental school. And his dean basically started out, I think it was one of the first days of classes, basically saying that the height of dentistry is gone, and if you're looking to make money, this is not the profession you want to be in. He got up and left the class, never went back.
This is based on a true story of Jordan Belfort, from his rise to a wealthy stockbroker living the high life to his fall involving crime, corruption, and the federal government.
And there's a few drugs, I think, in this movie, too.
There's a couple.
So the budget on this movie was $100 million, and the movie had a very risque storyline that none of the major backers wanted to have anything to do with. And so he ended up going and fundraising independently to get the funds in order to make the movie, because it was not wanted by any of the studios. And so that's a lot of money to get together.
It went on to make $392 million. This is, in fact, Martin Scorsese's highest-grossing film to date, I believe. It was released on December 25th, 2013. It was directed by Martin Scorsese. Screenplay by Terrence Winter, based on The Wolf of Wall Street by Jordan Belfort. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Margot Robbie, Matthew McConaughey, Kyle Chandler, Rob Reiner, Jon Favreau, Jean Dujardin, and John Barnthal. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out. I have never really been a big fan of Leo. I always kind of felt like he played Jack from Titanic in every role he's ever been in. But going back and watching this again with kind of new eyes, because it's been a little while since I've seen it, he's fucking fantastic in this movie. I think his performance is on point. It's fucking depressing at the end. Right?
I will agree with you. I thought he did a great job in this movie, but every time I see him, I don't see Jack from Titanic. I see that kid from Growing Pains.
Serious?
I don't know why. I always think of him as that kid from Growing Pains.
What was his name in Growing Pains?
I don't know, but it was about when they jumped the shark and had to add a young kid in.
Leo did he get nominated for Best Actor?
He got nominated for Best an Academy Award for Best Actor, did not win it, but he did win a Golden Globe, I believe.
Okay, so he is... so the Academy Awards, it was nominated for Best Picture, Director, Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. And it was nominated for BAFTAs for Best Director, Actor, and Screenplay. So it doesn't win any academies.
Hey, it's an honor to be nominated, right?
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, did a great acting job in this movie. I mean, some of the things that he had to do was crazy. Just that scene of him crawling to the car when he does the lemons, that alone was crazy. I mean, he even hurt his back during that scene. And I guess a lot of the film, something that Martin Scorsese does with most of his films, is the actors are ad-libbing a lot of their lines and a lot of their direction. Yeah. So I thought it was fantastic when you think about that, the things that they did in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. The Matthew McConaughey chest beating bit, totally improv. When Leo looks over, you think that he's looking at like the other patrons in the restaurant. No, he's looking at Scorsese, looking for the approval.
Is this okay?
Yeah, totally, right? And he gives it, and it fucking works. Martin Scorsese knows how to cast a film. You know what I mean? If you go back and you think about the films that we had before mentioned, great cast in all of them. You know, and this one is no different. I feel like this is a strong candidate to be possibly one of Scorsese's best films.
What do you think? What do you think of Jonah Hill and his casting?
Oh my gosh, so funny, so funny. He had me laughing. I laughed so much in this film. You know, and I don't know what that says about me because of what this film contains, but I laughed a lot, and Jonah Hill he was hysterical. He was good. He was really good in this performance.
I've never really been a big Jonah Hill fan. Even Superbad, I didn't, care for him that much. But I thought he did an amazing job in this movie. And did you hear what he did to get this part?
What did he do?
He wanted to be in a Martin Scorsese film so bad, he took $60,000. That's what he got paid for this movie.
SAG scale. And as soon as it was, so he waited a month and a half to hear if he got the part or not. And Leo calls him and said, "You got it." And then he immediately got on the phone and he says, "I want to sign that contract tonight," because he didn't want to lose the role to somebody else.
Right.
And so he just took it, just give me anything, because he just wanted to work so badly for Scorsese.
Yeah. This is Margot Robbie's first big screen debut too. And boy, is it a debut.
Yeah, leaves little to the imagination.
That's Harley Quinn up there, guys.
You know,
You were probably in a lot of heaven, weren't you, bud? Did you know that going into it?
I think you had given me a little bit of warning ahead of time.
We just said this isn't something that you want to watch with a lot of people.
Well, you also said that I didn't want to play on my phone during her scene.
Who else? You got Matthew McConaughey, as we said.
Rob Reiner as Mad Max, which
Yeah.
I loved him in this movie.
So good.
John Berthenol.
John Berthenol, great
The
as
Punisher.
great as the Quaalude dealer. And yeah.
He also now has, John has inspired me for new facial hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to have to start doing it that style.
Wait, are you going to, okay. You are going to do it that style?
Yeah.
When?
I don't know.
Okay, next Thursday when we record whatever movie we record next, please have that style of facial hair.
Okay.
Kyle Chandler, the FBI agent.
Yeah.
I like that dude. I think he's a really good actor. And
He's the one from Office Space, isn't he?
No.
He looks like him.
You would know Kyle Chandler from Godzilla, King of Monsters,
Yes.
and Kong versus Godzilla. I don't know if he's in any other
he looks so much
sci-fi movies that you, or comic book movies that you would watch.
So real life FBI Agent Coleman, when word got around that he's being portrayed in the movie, he is asked by staff members and such, "So do you know who's portraying you in the movie?" And he had no idea who Kyle Chandler was, never met him, no idea who he is. And he says, "Yeah, it's Kyle Chandler." And he felt good that it was being played by him, because each time he mentioned that to any women folk, they all went, "Oh."
Yeah, he's a good actor. I dig him. There's a lot of stuff that he's good in. So, Super 8. He's the dad in Super 8.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah. So, have you ever seen Super 8?
I don't think I have.
Oh, fuck off. You haven't seen Super 8?
I don't
You
think
would
I have.
like that.
I think you, do you know what it's about by chance?
I'm guessing Super 8 people?
Okay. There you go. You heard it, guys. Make him watch Super 8. That's a fun one.
That would be a good
I
one
enjoyed
for
it.
someone to suggest for us.
That's
to
what
watch.
I just fucking said.
At our website, 3guysandaflick.com.
Oh my God. You're worse than a pink slip whore. What did they call him? A pink slip hooker or something like that.
I'm trying to sell it. Trying to make a sale here.
Sell me this pen. So
One thing I did find out about a casting, the woman that played the aunt, do you know who originally was supposed to play that role?
no, I do not.
Julie Andrews.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Could you imagine him making out, or Leonardo DiCaprio making out with Julie Andrews?
I'm gonna say it. Julie Andrews is beautiful to this day. So
It'd just
and
be a
back in
weird-
2013,
Be a weird pairing.
I think you have some hangups about some things. You know what I mean?
That's quite possible, yeah. I think this was our kind of movie. I heard that they got a record for this movie. What Guinness Book of World Records did they win for this movie, Don?
They used our favorite word 569 times.
And what is our favorite word?
Why would you have to ask me that? You know that everyone knows what our favorite word is. 569 fucks. So yeah, definitely our kind of movie.
That worked out to be an average of 2.81 times per minute.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking fucks.
Did you find the F-bombs distracting at all? Did you notice that it was so prevalent?
No.
It worked in the movie. It felt like that type of movie. If you're going to make a movie with New Yorkers, kind of in that setting, you're going to get a lot of fucks.
So basically real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Did it take you out of the movie there, Professor?
I really didn't notice them, and I think it just comes down to I have grown desensitized to it. I remember watching Midnight Run with Charles Grodin and Robert De Niro, and I was very distracted by the amount of times they said fuck
Really?
Very distracted. And I've been curious to go back and watch it. It's been on the Lodar for a little while to go back and watch it to see if I experienced that. I started thinking about it when we started talking about, well, do we want to change our rating? And then, well, I was thinking maybe we use fucks. It's like, well, I remembered how I felt about Midnight Run, and so it had stayed on the Lodar. You know, I should go back and watch that and see if I feel the same. And so now here I am watching Wolf of Wall Street, and it's just like, yeah, they say fuck, but oh, they said it that much? I guess I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Desensitized.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I've always been desensitized to the word because I can't remember the last time. No, I take that back. Early on, grade school, I would be hanging out with my buddy and his family, and every time he got upset, I mean, like crying or didn't get his, didn't make him sound spoiled, but when he got like really physically upset and crying, like if we were in the car or something, he would start cursing at his parents. You shit fuckers. I mean, he would go off, and I remember going, what the fuck, right? I say that shit, I get my ass beat back then, not now, Pop. But, you know, so I remember being kind of, not traumatized, but introduced to that word through that experience. And then I have older brothers, right? And they used it all the time. So I think I've always been desensitized.
But
fuck.
But hasn't your dad even had recently talks with you about how much we swear on this podcast?
He tells, you know what's funny is he goes, those other two don't swear. I never hear Ken or John swear. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, Dad. In 1987, Jordan Belfort lands a job as a Wall Street stockbroker for L.F. Rothschild, employed under Mark Hanna. He is quickly enticed into the drug-fueled stockbroker culture and Hanna's belief that brokers' only goal is to make money for himself. Jordan loses his job following Black Monday, the largest one-day stock market drop in history, and takes a job at a boiler room brokerage firm on Long Island that specializes in penny stocks. Thanks to his aggressive pitching style and high commissions, Jordan makes a small fortune. Jordan then befriends his neighbor Donnie Azoff, and the two found their own company. They recruit several of Jordan's friends, whom Jordan trains in the art of the hard sell. Jordan's tactic and salesmanship largely contribute to the success of his pump and dump scheme, which involves inflating the price of a stock through issuing misleading, positive statements in order to sell it at an artificially augmented price. When the perpetrators of the scheme sell their overvalued securities, the price drops immensely, and those who were conned into buying at an inflated price are left with a stock that is suddenly worth much less than what they paid. To cloak this, Jordan gives the firm the respectable-sounding name Stratton Oakmont in 1989.
You know, it's funny, after watching this movie, I had to talk to my dad, who plays the stock market a lot. And I asked him, I'm like, Dad, you buy a lot of stocks. You ever heard of penny stocks? And he goes, oh, that's shit. I never buy that shit.
Well, that's what they fucking called it, too. Mm-hmm. So this movie opens with a very, I'm going to smack you in the face right away, narration. And a lot like Martin Scorsese's other films, he has a narrator to take us through the entire film. Let me ask you, does having a narrator that does this for this film take you out of it? Does it bother you? Did you not like it?
At the beginning, it took me a little bit out of it because he keeps breaking the fourth wall and talking directly to us. But then I realized what he was doing. He was making us sell to the audience. So he was selling the movie to us. So I actually got into it after that.
Yeah. I could see how you would take it that way. What about you? Did it take you out of it? Did it bother you?
No.
Did you expect it?
No, I wasn't expecting it. And I got to say that pretty quick, it's like, man, this is just like Goodfellas.
Yeah. And Casino, if you think about it. A lot of his films are kind of paced the same way. I dug it. Leo was very charismatic, and the way they tell the story. And, I mean, it opens up with them tossing a little person. I mean, that's kind of fucked up, right? We are introduced to our characters, and then, we go back to see Jordan before this all kind of goes to shit. We get a quick introduction of what his day's like, what he's doing.
What'd you think of Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, I thought his bit in this was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The introduction of when he first gets to that brokerage or whatever it was, and the dick, the guy who's just being a jerk to him, and you got the contrasting Hanna, what was it, Mark Hanna?
Yeah.
Mark Hanna. I instantly you connect with Mark Hanna, and you just want to kind of listen to every word he's got to say.
Yeah, because he's a salesman, and that's kind of what the movie's about. Mm-hmm. And then we get to, he kind of, he's trying to get his broker's license, right? So he has to go through that hell, finally gets his broker's license, and then fucking the market crashes, and now he is worthless.
What was it called, Black Monday?
Black Monday.
Yep.
And he gets kicked right in the balls, you know?
Yeah.
So
he's talking about taking a stockroom job and trying to figure it out. And his wife was there for him. She was like, no, that is beneath you. You will take a stockbroker type job. You are going to find another job.
Yeah.
We'll make it work. And, the fact that, she was so much there for him and he screws her over.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what fucking drugs and money or as McConaughey puts it, hookers and cocaine, buddy. I mean, that's what it'll happen. And this film is a great depiction of that. For me, you laugh and you kind of go along for the ride, and the debauchery of it keeps going on and on and on. And then you see how it ends. And I mean, it ends like it has to end. Everything comes crashing down, and that's pretty much life. And that's how Jordan Belfort wrote it, but it was an entertaining ride. You know what I mean? So, and that's what Scorsese does. He puts us on entertaining rides, and I appreciate that about him.
One of the things I really appreciate about this movie was, and this is where I kind of my expectations or what I consider with Goodfellas versus this movie, the big difference. In Goodfellas, the main character who's narrating the story makes himself out to be like the perfect gangster. He wasn't involved in any of the really bad things. It was the other people doing it, even though turns out if you know real life, he was involved in it, and people didn't think he was that great of a gangster, things like that, or mobster. In this movie, Jordan tells it like it is. I mean, he paints a picture of himself that is a horrible picture, but you can tell there's some honesty in that. The people who were portrayed in this movie in real life have confirmed all that really horrible stuff that he did, all the drugs that they did, all the debauchery at the parties that they did. The majority of it was true. He did all of those things. And I love the fact that he was honest about it. This is who I am. I'm not a good person.
Yeah. And though we may disagree about the Goodfellow thing, and we'll get into that way later, I agree. Belfort tells it, or Leo tells it like it is. And I like the scene where after Black Monday and he has to go get the job and he walks into the penny stock place. What do you guys think of that scene?
Well, that is the first time we get to hear Jordan Belfort being a salesman. And these speeches that we get to hear him give throughout the movie, I feel like is more what the movie is about, because, I don't know, in my opinion, the movie doesn't necessarily convey itself as strongly as a story that's being told, per se, as a series of vignettes. These are moments that are shared with us, and they're not necessarily telling his story other than just a few short years. And so how do I like my story told? I guess I prefer a story. The movie White Men Can't Jump, I feel like that movie comes down to 10 minutes. And then the rest of the story I was unimpressed with. And I understand the what that story was about, but I felt like it was just pivoting around that moment. And I'm thinking that this movie is going to be more about these moments because, here's another speech. Oh, he is a really motivational speaker. He has these people just like, they're like frothing at the mouth, just raring to go. Mm-hmm. And so having this, be the movie instead of more or less his story, I guess it's sort of his story, but I was underwhelmed because of that.
I did like, as you were saying, Professor, that where we get to see Leonardo, we see Jordan do his big sale at that penny stock place. And I just loved how you kind of saw in the background all the guys gathering around and staring at him.
Everyone's kind of stopping what they're doing, yeah.
And then when he hangs up the phone and gets the $4,000, sale, or he sells $4,000 worth of penny stocks, everyone's like, how did you do that?
That's his gift.
Yeah, and that jumpstarts us with his career, and then we go through, and I was noticing that when he was introducing the guys that he's working with, it was very Goodfellas-y. It was a very straight introduction scene, which is fine. So it moves us along.
He introduces them all pretty much as criminals.
Yeah. He does this for a while and he starts making some money and gets the nice car and the diner. And this is where we meet Jonah Hill's character, Donnie.
Donnie.
I like the bit where he says, show me your pay stub for $72,000 and I quit my job now and I work for you.
That was
good.
an awkward moment. Can you imagine? We work. I mean, we live in the same building, and how can you drive that car? Well, now I can. Okay, but what do you do? I'm a stockbroker. Okay, well, how much do you make? I mean, he was so forward about it.
Yeah.
And why are you just prying into this guy's life so much?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess he wanted to make what he wanted to make. He was ballsy. The guy did marry his cousin, so come on.
I did find it hard to focus on what they were saying and looking at Donnie's teeth.
Oh. Yeah, they were very distracting.
I guess Jonah Hill, they obviously had fake teeth in, and when he started wearing those fake teeth, he had a really bad lisp. So he would just call businesses at random during non-filming times to talk to people to try to work through that lisp.
This is where they do crack for the first time too. This scene had me laughing too because Leo gets all kinds of pumped up and then he's like, "Let's go running, Donnie." The chemistry between Leo and Jonah Hill, I bought. There's a couple of moments in this movie that they're just kind of feeling it, like you had said, John, the improv of it, right? And so it really works. I thought their chemistry was great.
Well, the funny thing is, Professor, you were saying that it was a little, weird how Donnie came in and was asking all those questions, those direct questions and probing. But you know what? I have a friend who's almost identical to Donnie, and he would do the exact same things, even do some of the weird stuff at some of those parties. This is the guy who you would expect to do those things. So nothing was unexpected for me in this movie.
Yeah. So Donnie works for Jordan now, and then eventually Jordan says, "You know what? I'm going to do this on my own to cover up the fact that it's just a scheme." And, so he breaks away and, to cover it, he names it Stratton Oakmont. Where does that name come from? Does anybody know?
I read somewhere that they actually bought a company called Stratton. And I don't know if they made up the Oakmont, but Stratton was a legitimate company that they basically hid everything behind. Is that what you read?
No, I didn't read. I was hoping you did the research.
Which is what I typically do. But it was a legitimate, and that's the one thing that Jordan, one of his biggest complaints about this movie was it portrayed all of the company work that they did as being illegal and that they were scamming people. He said that was about 5% of what they did at the company was the illegal stuff. He said 95% of the time at Stratton Oakmont, they were doing legal deals and stocks and everything, that those people you saw in the background were actually doing real work. And that's one thing that he wished the movie had portrayed more, but I think it would have been kind of boring if they had portrayed the legal stuff.
And, to that I have to say, were they? Yeah. So,
but he was honest about most of everything else, so I kind of have to believe him on that.
Well, that was what hooked DiCaprio. DiCaprio dug the guy's story because of his brutal honesty. It was unflinching, he said.
Yeah.
Well, and so, for him to feel that, it's like, I guess maybe. But on the other hand, I'm also thinking, you're a shitty person, and maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily can believe you at face value, even though he was brutally honest about many other things.
Sure, and that's kind of where I'm at, right? I mean, he's a salesman at heart. So who knows? I guess only he will know. Well, and the people that work for him, I guess.
Agent Coleman referred to Belfort as a salesman, and he said that he didn't sell stocks. What he did was he sold stories, and if the story was good, they bought the stock.
After an expose in Forbes, hundreds of ambitious young financiers flock to his company. Jordan becomes immensely successful and slides into a decadent lifestyle of prostitutes and drugs. He has an affair with a woman named Naomi. When his wife finds out, Jordan divorces her and marries Naomi in 1991. Meanwhile, the SEC and the FBI begin investigating Stratton Oakmont. In 1993, Jordan illegally makes $22 million in 3 hours after securing the IPO of Steve Madden. This brings him and his firm further to the attention of the FBI. To hide his money, Jordan opens a Swiss bank account with a corrupt banker, Jean-Jacques, in the name of Naomi's Aunt Emma, who is a British national and thus outside the reach of American authorities. He uses the wife and the in-laws of his friend Brad Boddick, who have European passports, to smuggle the cash into Switzerland.
This is my one, I think, big issue with this movie. And I've said it before, when you're doing a movie based on a true story, and you say that it's based on a true story and you swerve too far away from that, it takes me a little bit out of the movie. But I did not know this before watching the movie, so I'm glad I didn't know this part. So hopefully everybody's watched the movie who's listening to this podcast, because I'm about to ruin something for you. First of all, Forbes never called him the Wolf of Wall Street. The article was never about him being this guy who's conning people, things like that, making all the money off of, rich people, making them poor, things like that. The article was actually called Stakes, Stocks, What's the Difference? It was about Jordan's bankrupted meat business prior to him becoming a stockbroker. So it had nothing to do. All the people who ever worked at the firm, even Donnie, has confirmed Jordan gave himself the nickname Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, so what? The way Martin tells it's way more fun.
I know. I agree with you. I am glad they made that change. But, when you're saying something's based off of a true story, you got to be a little hesitant on that.
I don't fucking care, and it doesn't make a difference to me.
The movie is based on the book
by
Jordan Belfort, not the Forbes article.
You're absolutely right. And the book, that's the thing that he basically says, is he talks about this Forbes article that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So, smartly, they changed it because that's a dumb story, and him getting the name The Wolf of Wall Street, it catches and it goes on. And it doesn't surprise me one little bit that he gave it to himself. Mm-hmm. Not at all. This is also when we meet Margot Robbie.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, I bet you were, you pervert. What'd you think of her in this role?
I thought she did a fantastic job. In fact, she actually spent time with the real Naomi, who actually her real name is Nadine. She spent the real time with her to learn that accent, and I thought she did such a great job. In fact, I almost felt like we were watching Harley Quinn, because isn't that the same accent she uses in Suicide Squad?
It's very similar. She's from Long Island, I think.
Long Island.
Yeah.
Now, one of the interesting things I thought was reading about that, that scene that she does, the full frontal scene that she does. Scorsese and DiCaprio, all of them said, you don't have to do it. We'll figure something out. We'll use either a body double, or you can wear some lingerie, something like that. She insisted. She's basically said Naomi would do this. And so did you hear what she did to get ready to do this part, to do this scene?
No, what did she do?
Professor, did you read?
3 shots tequila?
3 shots of tequila before she walked out. She insisted on doing this scene completely nude. And I think one of her quotes that she said was, like a Martin Scorsese film, if you get a big role like this for your first big role, you do a nude scene so you never have to do one again.
Yeah, and probably smart advice. And then, we progress through montage until we get to, Jordan's wife at the time, finding them in the limo, and then, the inevitable divorce comes, and now he's going to be with Naomi. Speaking of Naomi and the full frontal nudity, did the excessive use of nudity bother you in this film?
I already knew it was there.
Did it bother you the first time you saw it?
I don't think so.
No. Good for you. What about you?
I don't think it bothered me as much, but in this day and age, all I kept thinking was, this wouldn't fly today. But, it didn't bother me at all. It was a little excessive at times and somewhat unnecessary, but it didn't take me out of the movie at all.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, why have I never been to an office party like that? I guess because we didn't make $22 million in one day.
3 hours.
3 hours? Now, I did read the scene where Naomi and Jordan make love on the bed with all the money.
Yeah.
Did you read about that scene? What happened?
Yeah, she kept getting little tiny paper cuts.
Yeah, she got paper cuts all over her back. It was very uncomfortable. She, wasn't happy with the scene. I was glad she did it, but, she ended up in a lot of pain afterwards. They asked DiCaprio about it, and he said, yeah, we got pretty cut up. He says, but I didn't mind the scene at all. I was with Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And then when they first do it,
when they first
with the dog wouldn't cooperate, so they put like dog food or something in between Leo's feet.
chicken giblets or something
Chicken
like
liver,
that
yeah.
in his toes.
Yeah.
And there is a moment right there that you have as he could have easily made the story a little bit different when he said, I was going to fuck her brains out. And then for 11 seconds.
He said he did fuck her brains out for 11 seconds.
And
I love
so
that pause.
so he could have changed that. And it's in the movie.
Because
it was in the book, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way it's presented, and I'm sure the way you read it, it's fucking funny, So whether it's true or not, I don't think fucking matters.
Well, I like how
it's funny.
He says to her, or she goes, "Did you come?" And he's like, "Yeah." "Did you?" "No."
Heard that a lot, have you? So yeah, it was a fun scene, I guess.
And then they decide that they want to get married. Holy moly. It's got to be a train wreck by the end of it. And sure enough, it was. But the bachelor party, holy fuck.
$2 million.
Holy fuck. When you see him walking naked across the room with all of the strewn debris everywhere, bodies sprawled everywhere, it's like, oh my God.
Did you catch as he's walking across the room and he's almost to the window and there's one woman lying inside, he just reached down, gives her a little feel and keeps walking?
Uh-huh.
Just the debauchery in the movie. It's crazy.
I know.
Oh, yeah. This is a full-on hedonistic behavior. Just complete and utter shameless, self-gratification.
Yeah, fucking crazy, that bachelor party. So they get married, and then, time goes on, and it turns out that the FBI is starting to ask questions a little bit. And then they're looking for something to kind of make them legit, or they're looking for something to get them out of the penny stocks, but into the bigger game. And so Donnie's childhood friend, Steve Madden, has a shoe company, so they want to take it public, right? And so they do that whole bit. The guy who plays Steve Madden, you know who that is?
I do. Do you know who that is?
I forget.
It is the son of Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. He's also in Click.
I'm wearing my Steve Maddens right now.
Oh, look at that. You into women's shoe, are you, buddy?
Why are you so judgy?
It was just a question.
What's up with you?
It was just a question.
Since I'm kind of, famous for this on all of our shows of missing the boat on certain scenes, I'm going to take us back a sec. Let's go back to the party where Jordan first meets Naomi. There's a scene where Donnie, as Jordan's talking to Naomi.
Higher than a kite.
Donnie is higher than the kite, as you say, so eloquently. Basically amusing himself, sitting there.
In a room full of people.
I guess, obviously, it was a prosthetic. It wasn't a real, wang or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But the people at the party, the actors, didn't know that was going to happen. So I guess their reaction was a genuine reaction. Can you imagine turning around and just seeing, Jonah Hill?
Potentially with his wanger out?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, I mean, to go back just like half a minute earlier, when he starts tripping upstairs where he's at, and he's trying to say Steve Madden, and Leo keeps mocking him and making the way that bit had me rolling. And then it crescendos with Jonah Hill coming downstairs. Dude, great scene. Yeah. Fucking hilarious.
And it was capped off, I thought. What really just perfectly ended that scene was his wife's reaction.
Oh, when she starts beating the shit out of him?
Pizza just drags him out, and it's still hanging out of his pants.
Did you guys find yourself laughing a lot in this film?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of good laughs.
No.
How about you, Don?
I couldn't stop laughing.
Well, it is a black comedy.
Oh my gosh, the bit we'll come up to later. That's probably
For me, I think it wasn't even so much a lot of the action in the movie. It was some of the lines and the way they were delivered.
We also are introduced to Rob Reiner's character, Mad Max. He comes in, because Jordan is growing and growing. The scene where he comes in and starts yelling at them for their $400,000
Dinner,
or no, it was $26,000.
They deliver
dinner.
one of the best lines here.
Oh my God, it was so good.
was it curing cancer?
Yeah. Actually, it was curing cancer. That's why it cost so fucking much. And in Leo, the way his off-camera reactions, or not off-camera, but his reaction shots, like he's like, "Shut the fuck up, Donnie! You're gonna piss him off," and it was so good. And
I just love the line of, "What kind of hooker takes credit cards?"
the rich ones. So yeah, we get an idea of who we're dealing with pretty quick.
Yeah, I just loved angry dad, and you could almost see Jordan, Leonardo, just laughing at his dad. I mean, they were just having a great interaction, a father-son kind of moment.
So we get to meet Special Agent Denham, right, on the yacht.
This has to be one of my favorite scenes too, because it's just so the dialogue between Leo and Kyle Chandler back and forth, and then finally it just comes to a head.
Did you think that he was going to take the deal?
No, fuck no.
At
Not
any
at all,
moment,
not once.
Professor, did you think he was considering it?
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't think he was going to take the deal at all.
The way that the scene was shot, I really dug it. The back and forth dialogue that is happening. Over Leo's shoulder, we see people on the beach, and they are all out of focus. And over the shot of the FBI agent is the waving American flag. And so the waving American flag, okay, this guy, he's true, he's honest, and he represents what is right. And then when we look at Belfort, he has a bunch of people that are behind him that are all out of focus, and it has nothing to do with anybody else. It is only about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that he brought the agent on after his lawyer told him, absolutely do not talk to them, do not have anything to do with them, don't go near them. Next thing you see, he's bringing them on the boat.
Well, he said he wouldn't call them.
Yeah.
So he has them on the boat. And then they get to the bit where Kyle Chandler's character says, "Can you say that again? Exactly the same way." Yeah, that was good. Did you just try to bribe me? And they're like, and then it turns into, why don't you go and get the fuck off my boat? Why don't you go fuck yourself? Yeah. It was great lines.
That was a work of fiction that never actually took place. Mm-hmm. That yacht scene.
Yeah, well,
doesn't matter.
No,
because it propels the movie along.
Yeah, the real agent said that the first time that he ever met Jordan was when he went to arrest him at the house.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this gives me one of my favorite lines. Go have fun with your miserable subway ride home to your ugly fucking wives. I'm gonna have Heidi here lick some caviar off my balls in the meantime.
He throws the lobsters at him. He
goes
to the edge of the boat.
You fuck.
And he's throwing $100 bills off the boat, calling them coupons.
Yeah. Oh my
That was
gosh.
a one fat wad of cash he pulled out.
So they have all this money, and now they have to figure out how to launder it or hide it, I guess is a better term for it. So turns out that Naomi has a aunt in England, and they can get a Swiss bank account opened in her name. They just have to get all of the money to Switzerland, and we get introduced to Brad early on. John Bernthal's character, whom you were going to replicate on your face. And, it turns out that his wife and her family are from Europe. And what'd you guys think of the scene where they tape or they shrink wrap all that money to
that gal?
Yeah. And
I kept thinking, how are they going to put clothes over
I
her?
know, I'm thinking,
so it's going to look normal.
How are they going to fucking do this?
Completely ridiculous looking.
Yeah.
And I love her comment when she talks to Don, and she's like, I don't work for you. You're wearing my money. You technically do. What'd you think of the scenes with the Swiss banker when they were trying to subtly talk about hiding the money, the $20 million? And, are you going to screw me? Are you going to screw me?
Yeah.
And he's trying, like the Swiss guys, trying to say that, subtly of, no, I'm not going to screw you. I'm going to help you hide the money, but I might just screw you.
Yeah. 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 And I like the inner thought moment that they have, because they're talking to the audience. And we've seen Leo do it the entire film, but this one they, kind of bounce back and forth with it, which I thought was funny.
Here we have the scene also where Jordan is sitting on the bench with the aunt, and he's thinking, is she coming on to me?
And then she thinks, is he coming on to me?
And then he goes and that was just an odd scene.
I think it was awkward, and I think it was meant to make you feel awkward, and this kind of goes to show you that Jordan's down for whatever.
I thought maybe it's also basically say just how messed up in the head he'd gotten from all the drugs and lavish lifestyle and all that.
Donnie and Brad get into a public brawl. Donnie escapes, but Brad is arrested. Brad does not say a word about Donnie or Jordan to the police. Jordan learns from his private investigator that the FBI is wiretapping his phones. Fearing for his son, Jordan's father advises him to leave Stratton Oakmont and lie low while Jordan's lawyers negotiate a deal to keep him out of prison. Jordan, however, cannot bear to quit and talks himself into staying in the middle of his farewell speech. In 1996, Jordan, Donnie, and their wives are on a yacht trip to Italy when they learn that Aunt Emma has died of a heart attack. Jordan decides to travel to Switzerland immediately to settle the bank account. To bypass border controls, he orders his yacht captain to sail to Monaco, but the ship capsizes in a storm. After their rescue, the plane sent to take them to Geneva is destroyed when a seagull flies into the engine. Jordan takes this as a sign from God and attempts to become sober from drugs.
What was the beef between Donnie and Brad?
Donnie's just a dick.
It just seemed like he really wanted to push Brad's buttons.
Yeah, he pushed everybody's buttons.
Yeah, and
I mean, he does it to his dad. He does it to all their pals. Donnie's an asshole.
I got the impression when they were first talking about hiding the money and everything, and he was talking to Brad like he was an employee and wanted to be, he wanted Brad to kiss his ass, and Brad was like, fuck you. And from then on, Donnie just wanted to, poke him and prod him and set him off.
Well, here's my question. While Donnie's fucking around and doing all that, and Brad's, trying to get the money, why doesn't Brad just fucking leave?
I think he tried a couple of times, didn't he?
No, he didn't. He kept trying to get the money from him. Yeah. He kept trying to, and Donnie kept being a prick. I'm thinking, fuck you, dude. I don't need this. I'm gone. I don't have to do this. We moved all of Jordan's money. Jordan's good. So he gets popped, and Donnie's fucking freaking out about it.
Gets so wasted.
They get the lemons. He uses the lemons to distract Jordan.
Oh, I know. This is so funny. And then the scene where, Jordan is like, this was a special occasion. We were celebrating, so I had to prepare myself. And it shows himself about to take an enema or give himself an enema.
The CPR scene between Belfort and Donnie, 70 takes. Why? Because they wanted the ham stuck to his face.
So they're going to take the lemons, and it's not working. And this is probably when I remember seeing it for the very first time. I laughed from as soon as he started losing his speech. Because the private investigator calls, right?
Yep.
So him and Donnie just keep taking them because they're not working. His PI calls and says, get it the fuck out of the house.
Get on a public phone.
Right. So he drives down to the country club to use the payphone, and then they start talking, and he's asking questions, and then all of a sudden he starts speaking gibberish. I remember the first time watching this, laughing through this entire fucking thing.
Well, what I was going to say is that what I liked about this scene is throughout the movie they had talked about the different phases of drugs. You do this drug to, go to sleep. You do this drug to... And then he says, at this point, I hit the cerebral palsy phase.
Oh, I know. And it's when he realizes it, he's looking at the payphone and the shots of his eyes, and he goes, I just figured out that these had a delayed fuse, and everything hit him at once. And then, oh my gosh, him trying to crawl to the car and the sounds that he'd make, and when he looked down the steps, there was a gazillion steps. And then when it cut back, there was 4.
I had to rewind that scene because I thought, wait, he fell down a whole lot more steps than actually were there. So.
Oh my gosh. So
It
good.
was shot very well.
Yeah.
Scorsese did it right.
And Leonardo improvised that whole scene.
Yeah. He gets into the car, drives as slow as possible, makes it home without a scratch,
Not a scratch on the car.
and gets in. He's still on the phone. And then the motions and just him trying to get off the phone was so fucking funny. And then Donnie immediately goes to the ham plate, right? That's what Donnie does. He's fucking a hungry druggie. And he starts eating his ham. He starts fucking choking. And at the same time, Naomi's freaking out. She's telling Jordan to get over there. Jordan can't fucking move, but on the television, he's watching Popeye. And at that moment, Popeye's taking his spinach. So what does Jordan do?
Jordan took his spinach.
Took his spinach. Grabs this thing of Coke, does the Coke, get up. And what'd you say, 72 takes? Or how many takes?
It was 70 takes.
Did you read?
70 takes that he kept giving him.
Did you read what they put on the ham to make it stick to Jordan's face?
It was like KY jelly,
They
wasn't it?
put KY jelly on the ham.
Yeah. Coughs it up, saves his life. But he knows that Brad got arrested. And he knows that Donnie was responsible
At
for
first,
it,
you could tell, when Donnie's choking, Jordan thought about letting him choke.
Yeah, he did. He hesitates. He hesitates. He was that mad, He passes out on the couch, wakes up, and then I thought, this is probably where I laughed.
Or the
hardest
police
at the
wake him
film.
up.
Yes. And he go.
Did you leave the house tonight?
He's like, no.
He walks outside, and then that Ferrari is torn.
Lamborghini Countach.
What'd I say?
Ferrari.
Yeah, when the Lamborghini was torn.
Did you like the new
Because
scene?
he wanted a Ferrari Testarossa, or he owned a Ferrari Testarossa
At the beginning.
a white one.
Like on Miami Vice.
Like on Miami Vice, that's right.
Did you like how they reshot the scene of the car driving home and hitting everything?
Absolutely. He tells us what happens. Yeah, he does that a couple times, and another time's coming up when he's on the plane, which I was fucking hysterically laughing again. So Jordan's clearly out of control, right? And so he has a meeting with his father and our favorite, Jon Favreau. And they're saying, plead guilty, do this, step down, you won't do any time, blah, blah, blah. And he thinks about it and decides to do it. Did you know in real life he does? He did leave him.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I did not know
I
that.
was watching an interview with him today, and he said that never happened in the movie. Which, again, cinematically, that scene where he decides to stay,
That speech.
and this is kind of where I kind of turned around on Leo, right? And it was the moment where he starts talking about Kimmy, and that's not the Kimmy I knew when she started here, right? And they go through that whole story, and even though they are pieces of shit, I mean, kind of literally, right? It was told with such heart, and it was kind of fucking touching, and then, she's like, I fucking love you, Jordan. And he's like, I fucking love you too. And he stays and, gets everyone all hyped. And I held on to that because at the end, when everyone's getting arrested, so is she.
Yeah.
So, Max tells Jordan, the chickens are going to come home to roost. Mm-hmm. And so, this is his chance to get out, and he doesn't. He stays with the company.
Well, Max even says to him, how much money do you need? If he takes the deal, he'll probably have to pay maybe $1 million, $2 million, something like that. He's still going to have hundreds of millions of dollars. For me, to be a good movie, for a movie that for me to really enjoy, it has to have at least one oh shit scene or oh fuck scene. And to me, when he says, I'm staying, that was my oh fuck scene.
Oh, really?
That I couldn't believe, oh my God, he could walk away with all that money. He could get away with all of this. And he's like, no, I'm going to stay.
Yeah. Well, I bought it. I bought that he would stay because that's how narcissistic this guy is, right? I mean, they've done a pretty good job telling us who this guy is, according to the book, and whatever. But when he decides to stay, I didn't put it past him at all. So yeah. So what do? They fucking take the yacht, the Naomi, and they go to Italy, and they're just chilling, and they're running the the company from there. And then they find out that Aunt Emma dies. And, he gets on the phone with the French...
The Swiss guy. And it turns out he might be fucked.
He might be losing $22 million.
Yeah, so the Swiss guy kind of hints to him he needs to get there quick so they could forge some papers that basically says the aunt put it in his name.
Right.
And so that, at first I thought, oh, she really did put it in his name. No, he was hinting to him, you need to get here real quick before anybody checks us out so I can produce papers that say you're the owner of the money.
Right. So he tells the captain, we're going to Monaco. And they're all, but there's, chop. There's some bad weather ahead. And he's like, I don't fucking care. And then they cut to, it was like The Perfect Storm. Did you ever see The Perfect Storm? Mm-hmm. Absolutely unfucking believable,
I do like some of the scenes, like when all of it's happening and Jordan turns to Donnie and says, go get the drugs. Go get the ludes.
Get the ludes.
I'm not dying sober.
He's trying to be discreet, right? He's holding on to Margot Robbie and he's looking back at him. He's all, get the ludes. And Donnie's all fucked up, right? He doesn't understand it. The chemistry between those two fucking worked.
Yeah.
Fucking worked. So they sink the fucking yacht.
Which again is something that happened in real life.
Yeah, he said that. But he says that the plane that he saw blow up in the movie happened like a week or two later. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and when the plane blows up, he kind of has this aha moment and he, decides he's going to go clean. He's going to go sober.
So the interrogations that the rest of the crew goes through while he's out of country, those were largely improvised scenes. Actually, they were completely improvised scenes. The editor, as they were going through, she said that some of the stories, because they would just say anything, whatever that came to their mind, she said it was some of the funniest shit that she had heard.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese gave them all direction of say whatever you want to say, but don't tell the truth about what's going on.
In 1998, the FBI arrests Jordan because Sorrell, arrested in Florida on an unrelated charge, has informed the FBI on Jordan. Since the evidence against him is overwhelming, Jordan agrees to gather evidence on his colleagues in exchange for leniency. After Jordan having forced sex with her, Naomi tells Jordan she is divorcing him and wants full custody of their daughter and infant son. In a cocaine-fueled rage, Jordan hits Naomi and tries to drive away with his daughter, but crashes his car in the driveway. Later on, Jordan wears a wire to work but slips a note to Donnie warning him. The FBI discovers this, arrests Jordan, and raids and shuts down Stratton Oakmont. Despite breaching his deal, Jordan receives a reduced sentence of 36 months in a minimum security prison for his testimony and is released in 2000 after serving 22 months. After his release, Jordan makes a living hosting seminars on sales techniques. Roll credits.
I guess the scene where Jordan slips the note to Donnie, that's another thing that never really happened. Donnie has confirmed, or his real name is Danny, but has confirmed that there was never any note between the two of them. Jordan did slip a note, but it was to another friend of an employee. So they just kind of combined the story, which I think, again, is fine. It did happen in a different way, and it wasn't one of the things that, as kind of the professor talked about earlier, that's not the thing that got him in trouble and not the thing that sent him to jail. The stuff that happened earlier is what got him sent to jail when he took the deal. I guess there was hints in this scene, and I didn't get it at first. Kind of thought maybe it had happened, but they're trying to hint in this scene, and maybe it's in the deleted footage, that Donnie turns around and makes a deal with the FBI, and Donnie's the one that gave him the note. And that's what sent Jordan to jail.
I don't know.
Would that have made any difference if they had kind of really made that clear?
No, because I think with this story, what goes up must come down. And so now we're probably, 2 hours and 40 minutes into this film. And, the world comes crashing down. And what I want to know is why not throw the fucking note away?
What do you think of this last interaction between Jordan and Naomi?
I thought it was inevitable. I thought it was going to blow up somehow. In this type of story, it's only worth telling if at some point the character loses everything, right? And so, or everything to him, he does go to prison. So I thought that they both gave a believable performance, and, fuck you, Jordan, for taking your daughter in the car and doing all that shit. But, you know,
Jordan has flat out admitted Jordan in real life has flat out admitted that he did hit his wife and he did some abuse, but he claims it was never when he was sober. He says only whenever he was on drugs did he ever strike his wife.
well, that doesn't surprise me either.
But he also admits the scene with his daughter and all of that did happen as well. So he's owned up to a lot of shit.
So now we, flash forward to Jordan, where he's at now. And did you know, you probably knew, but that was the real Jordan Belfort who introduces him on the
stage at the seminar.
Yeah. And then he goes back to the, sell me this pen bit, and that's where we end.
Yeah. Now the jail that he went to, the minimum security jail where he's playing tennis and all that, that's actually what happens to stockbrokers. If you are not guilty of a violent crime, if it's a, type of crime like, they committed where they don't feel like anybody was physically hurt, you go to a prison like that, and he probably got out on weekends or things like that. Minimum security, it's like going to a freaking Holiday Inn. I mean, it's just crazy.
All right, so what do you guys think? Are you guys ready to rate this bitch?
I think we should rate this bitch.
Hey, Professor, how do we rate our movies?
We rate our movies on a scale of 1 to 5. Fucks. That's right. We rate them on fucks. So, a movie that is cinematic gold is going to get 5 fucks. A movie that is one and done, you've seen it and you have no desire to see it again, that's going to be 1 fuck.
And what's a 0?
A 0 is somebody owes me 2 hours of my life back. It's one of those movies where I just don't give a fuck.
All right. Well done. Wolf of Wall Street, who wants to go first?
Who put this movie in the hat?
I did.
Okay, there you go. Professor, you're up, buddy.
All right. So here we are. The Wolf of Wall Street. This is Martin Scorsese's very good work. I am so impressed with the movie that he puts together. The movie is just very pretty to watch, and the casting is done very well. And I certainly appreciate how the movie was put together. But with that being said, how can I root for any of these main characters? All of these main characters are, as you said, Don, they are horrible people. There was nobody for me to get behind. There's no protagonist in this movie for me. I mean, unless you want to count the FBI agent. These characters, even worse, they are real people. And these people, being as awful as they are with these selfish, hedonistic, as I said, tendencies, I had no compassion for them whatsoever. They were people that I wanted nothing to do with, and I never want to see again. The only reason I want to watch the movie again is because I want to appreciate what Martin Scorsese has put together, because his camera work is so darn good. And I really appreciate how he crafts his movies and puts these scenes together. But, as for the story itself, I talked about it earlier. The story kind of gets lost, I think, a little bit in its strong aesthetic. It is a movie that it feels more like a series of vignettes, like I said before, than a coherent narrative. And with that, it's like, well, do I like that in a movie or not? So it was something that I turned over in my head many times. I feel so strongly about Goodfellas, and I feel so strongly about The Wolf of Wall Street, but for different reasons. And they're both Martin Scorsese masterpieces. But do I want to watch the movie again? The only reason I want to watch the movie again is because I want to watch Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill and Margot Robbie. I want to watch them. I don't want to watch the characters. The backdrop of who they are is terrible, and I felt so awful that you have all of this money that just went away to nowhere. Nothing came of these people. They consumed all of this, and to what end? What good did they do? They did no good to anybody. They are horrible people, and with that, it really leaves me thinking that I'm really not all that interested to see the movie anytime soon. But like I said, it's Martin Scorsese, and watching him in his craft put together such a good movie cinematically is impressive. I kind of want to, like the movie more, but I'm going to give it 1.5 fucks.
The Wolf of Wall Street, 1.5 fucks. You want to go or you want me to go?
I can go ahead if you'd like.
All right, hit me there, comic book guy.
So going into this movie, I would call myself not a fan of Martin Scorsese films. And not because I haven't, I've seen the movies and hated them. I just never had much interest in Martin Scorsese films. I've seen Taxi Driver, and I thought it was a really good movie, but I don't think I ever connected that was a Martin Scorsese film. His style, Goodfellas, not a big fan of it, and that's something that we're going to revisit again down the road when I don't know if we're going to re-review it or release our original review of Goodfellas. But that movie kind of turned me off in that, knowing, maybe again, you always tell me, Don, don't read ahead, don't learn about these movies, don't figure out what's going to happen beforehand. Finding out that, again, yes, this is a guy telling basically a story based on a true story, but exaggerating so many different scenes turned me off to that movie. But I've said before, that was a well-filmed movie, that was a well-acted movie, that was a good movie. Just, I wasn't a fan of that movie. I had the opposite reaction to this movie. The brutal honesty that was in this movie, based off of a book by Jordan Belfont, really drew me into the movie. That the fact that this guy was being so honest about his drug use, about all the prostitutes and the women that he slept with, about his cheating, about what ended his marriage, even the point of the domestic violence, about hitting his wife. This man was brutally honest about all the things that the excesses in his life led to. That combined with Scorsese's filming techniques of the different lenses, and kind of like you were talking about, Professor, how things seemed disjointed, but I guess that was on purpose. The fact that he wanted, anytime that like Jordan was on drugs, especially near the end, when he took that cocaine and everything felt jumbly, he wanted people to feel like they were on drugs too, like they were missing something was wrong. Falling down the stairs with all of a sudden we have a ton more stairs and he's actually falling down. Did we just see that? And I had to rewind the scene. He wanted to give the audience that feeling, and I think he succeeded in that. I love the parts where Jordan talks to the camera. He talks to the audience, breaks the fourth wall. I thought that was a great technique of, he's selling the movie to us. He's selling his lifestyle to us. He's explaining what's going on so that we'll buy all of this. And I did buy into all of it. I will say, kind of like you were saying, Professor, that these were bad people who did bad things, and it bothered me at the end that really they got away with it. They got a little bit of jail time, got a little bit of a fine, little slap on the wrist. But, as I wake up every morning at, 6 or 7 in the morning to go to work for 8 hours, hoping to make sure and make enough money to pay off my mortgage, and these people are eating lobster every night and doing all these horrible things with all this money that they've made, doing, things that they didn't even get in trouble for, it kind of puts a little, stab in the heart when you think about it. But everything else about the movie, now, would I watch this movie again? Is this a movie I want to run out and watch? If it's on, I think I would actually watch it. I don't think I would go out and rent it, but I think I would actually watch it because I'd like to catch some of the scenes again. And learn a little bit more movie, catch a few things. I want to see more of those interesting camera shots they did. And I didn't read about the different lenses until after I watched the movie the first time. So I'd like to see if I could catch when they used the different, the fisheye lens or the, different aspect ratios, things like that. I wanted to catch that and see if I, what I see in that. So this is a movie that I think I might want to watch again. Did I enjoy the movie? I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed, usually I'm not a fan of Jonah Hill. I liked his acting in this movie. I thought he did a good job. I thought he was creepy as hell, but I did like, he portrayed that character. He pulled off the creep factor and made me feel like he was creepy as hell. Jordan Belfont, Leonardo DiCaprio's work on him, portraying him, very believable. Robbie, she was incredible in this movie. She pulled it off for her first acting role in a Martin Scorsese film. Again, very believable. All the characters I thought did a great job. Even Matthew McConaughey in the beginning, beating his chest and all that in the restaurant. Great. I mean, they all were amazing. So for that reason, my negatives versus my positives, I have to base it on overall, did I enjoy the movie? I think I did. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 3.75.
All right. My turn. The Wolf of Wall Street. Martin Scorsese is I think that Martin Scorsese is a fantastic storyteller. And if you go back and you look at the films that he has directed, a lot of his films involve people that we don't like, people that aren't good people. And I think that the point of telling these stories is, if, look at all this access, and look at what this lifestyle will ultimately give you. And I mean, it's nothing glamorous about it, and so I think that with these stories, the way he tells them, since they are kind of a depressing end game, you got to liven it up a little bit. You got to grab your audience. And if one thing a Martin Scorsese film does, it's grab you. Right? I mean, if you look at the list of movies he's made, I could start naming off movies and you both would go, oh yeah. And if you go back and watch those movies, there's something about them that will grab you, And so I think that Martin Scorsese put together a fantastic cast and crew. He had his longtime editor with him, Thelma Schumacher. The way he puts his films together and the way he tells his stories, I really find fun. And I'm hard-pressed to find a Martin Scorsese movie that I didn't like a whole lot. I'm sure they're out there, but, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Like I said earlier, I wasn't a big fan of Leo, but he really turned me around on this portrayal. I thought he was great as Jordan Belfort. Jonah Hill, Matthew McConaughey, Margot Robbie, Rob Reiner, list goes on and on and on. They all knocked it out of the park. I thought it was very well done. And, The Wolf of Wall Street is something that I would probably watch again. I enjoyed it. I think it's funny. You look at all this access and their douchebaggery and, the way they tell the story and the way it's portrayed on screen, I find it funny. I chuckle. So, I don't know if that makes me an asshole, but we all know that I am. I really enjoyed this film. I would watch it again. I'm going to give The Wolf of Wall Street 4 fucks.
Okay. There you go.
All right. Now comes the time in our podcast where we're going to select our next movie. Tonight, we are going back to the Bronco helmet. So this is going to be a mixture of the 3 directors that we have in there and our fan picks. So luck of the draw tonight. Professor, would you please do us the honor of selecting our next film?
Our next movie.
Welcome to Miami Mutual Bank. How may I help you?
I'd like to cash this check here, and then I'd like to take you out for a steak dinner.
Are you a realized pilot?
I sure am, little lady.
The jump seat is open.
It's been a while since I've done this. Which one's the jump seat again?
Dr. Connors to the ER. Dr. Connors to the ER.
This is irrefutable evidence that the defendant is lying.
Special Agent Hanratty, FBI.
Hello, Carl.
You're gonna get caught. It's like Vegas. The house always wins. Some nuts flying around the country posing as a pilot. Call him the James Bond of the sky.
Hello, Pusher. This is by far the best date I have ever been on.
He's a kid. That's why he doesn't have a record.
30 milligrams of codeine every 4 hours. Do you concur? I concur.
Dr. Harris.
Yes?
Do you concur?
Concur with what, sir? Ma'am, I'm sorry to have to tell you, your son is forging checks.
I have a payroll check here I'd like to cash.
I'm working part-time at the church now. Just tell me how much yours and I'll pay you back.
$1.3 million.
I'll be choosing 8 young ladies to be a part of Pan Am's future
a stewardess program.
South America, Australia, Singapore. These are so perfect the bank doesn't even know the difference. What do you want?
To apologize.
You didn't call to apologize, did you? You have no one else to call. I'm looking for your son.
I would never give up my son. If you were a father, you'd know.
Stop chasing me.
I can't stop. It's my job.
You see these people staring at you? They keep peeking over their shoulders, wondering where you're going tonight. Where you going, Frank?
Don't tell me not to fly, I've simply got to. If someone takes a spill, it's me and not you. Don't bring around a cloud of terrain on my parade.
Sir, we're gonna let him get away.
No, Carl, you let him get away.
Nobody had a better rain on my Merry Christmas parade.
I'm getting close, huh? You will go to prison.
You're gonna have to catch me.
So the next movie that we are going to watch is coming from our director, Steven Spielberg. The movie is Catch Me If You Can.
All right.
Yeah, that Leonardo guy, have we seen anything with him?
Well, now I'm kind of eager to watch it because I'm going to look at Leo in a whole new light, right? I'm going to try not to look at him as Jack Dawson and everything. I remember seeing this movie. I remember liking this movie. Tom Hanks, I mean, come on, right? But I remember thinking this is the con man Jack Dawson. So we'll see what happens.
Who plays his dad in that movie?
In which one?
In Catch Me If You Can.
Christopher Walken, maybe?
Christopher Walken, that's right.
Fuck, I am good.
Yeah, I love Christopher Walken in this movie.
Yeah, right on. All right, so I look forward to Catch Me If You Can. Speaking of catching us where you can, hey, John, where can they find us?
They can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They can find us on various podcast hosting sites, including iTunes, Podbean, Spotify. We are on all of them. They can find us on TikTok. They can also find us anytime at our website, 3guysinaflick.com, where we post articles about every movie we review that includes all of our show notes, extra information, as well as links to the DVD, IMDb, if you want to know information from them about it. It's all on our website. We also have a form on there that you can submit movie ideas for the next movies that we review. So please go ahead and check out our website if you can, 3guysinaflick.com. And if you happen to visit us on Podbeam or any of these podcasting hosting sites, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We'd really like to build up our subscriber numbers.
All right, so there you have it. As per always, I want to thank everybody who listens to us, especially Zach, Ronnie, and Jill. And be sure to share us with a friend. And don't forget to tune in next week when we talk about Catch Me If You Can. So for 3 Guys in a Flick, I'm Don.
I'm John.
And I'm Ken. Thanks for listening.
We kind of talked about the cast.
We didn't talk about the screenplay. We did not talk about.
I don't think you said the date it was released, did you?
No. Who fucking cares? It was 2013. Fuck you guys, man. God, do this, do that. The Wolf. You motherfucker.
God.
There. I fucking said it. I went through it.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Now, can we move on?
Well, did you want to read the plot?
I already read the fucking plot. I swear to God, this guy does not listen to me, Professor. Drives me up the fucking wall. All right. 1.5 fucks. 3 point. No, if you fuck up every time. No, not going to use it. Sorry. Your penance for not thinking it through.
Wait, did you say 3.75 the first time?
I said, I meant to say 3.75 fucks.
Is that what you said?
I said 3.5 the second time.
Oh, 3.5. Well, what is it? What is your fucking score?
So what is it? 3.75 fucks.
You're giving it 3.75.
I'm giving it 3.75 fucks only because I think of this genre of movie and the style that was filmed.
We already heard you.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
You guys are bitter because of my Goodfellas score, aren't you?
No, I don't give a fuck. You get 0 fucks from me because I don't give a fuck. Fuck off. Good night.